I would like to talk about the Ideal Org swindle that's going on within Scientology right now, because this was the thing that made me realize that the Sea organization is actually corrupt and is being used for corrupt purposes. Specifically, I was involved with the Ideal Org program from the very, very beginning. The Ideal Org program was put out to us in management as the handling to handle everything in regards to the churches and getting them to expand and be prosperous and be wonderful places that we all dreamed that they could be and we all wanted them to be. And I'm talking about the staff and the public. And a picture was painted that the reason why the churches were not expanding and were not successful is because they weren't big enough, we weren't putting them there enough, and if we just slam dunked them into place, everything would be wonderful. And that was how it was presented, and we all believed it. Hope was generated with that, and therefore a lot of work was generated, because that's what we all wanted, and we thought the answer was right there. So we started putting all this work into getting the parishioners to donate money to buy these buildings, right? To locate the buildings to buy, and to build them up, and to fix them up, and to get a lot of staff, and get them staffed up with a lot of people. And the parishioners were really sold on this, because we were really sold on it. We ran around and we talked about how wonderful things were going to be, and this was going to be the dream to end all dreams in Scientology, because we were finally going to achieve planetary salvation. So what ended up happening is, and what I saw with my own two eyes, because I worked directly on this for years, is big buildings were bought, a lot of money was raised to renovate those buildings, and a lot of parishioner dreams went into this. And then, once the building opened,
Johannesburg, wellspring of a new African civilization and the spark that ignited an Ideal Org movement across the continent. Buffalo, an Ideal Org to revitalize the lifeblood of America and right on Main Street, USA. San Francisco, a world-class org for a world-class city and now ringed by 75 groups of missions.
Los Gatos, seeding our technology through the information highway. Stevens Creek for the whole span of IT services and industries across San Jose. Madrid, right next door to Spanish Parliament and catalyst for religious recognition in Spain. New York, just off Times Square, and to honor the heroism of our ground zero VS.
That was it. Nothing really happened after that. There were no big efforts made to train the staff, to get new people in. It was promised earlier that this was going to be all about getting new people in and bringing the word of Scientology to the world. But when the big building opened, nothing happened. There were no droves of new people coming in. There was no big campaigns to spread the word of Dianetics and Scientology. Instead, and I witnessed this with my own two eyes over and over again, there was further efforts to make more money through these big buildings by painting a picture of our success with a big empty building. Look at how prosperous and successful we are. Now you need to give more money to the IAS.
Greetings, my fellow crusaders. You are one of us. Dauntless, defiant, and resolute. Gather the troops, every man, woman, and child in your land, and engage them in a quest for total freedom. L. Ron Hubbard said that when all strengths and forces are aligned to a single thrust, a tremendous amount of power can be developed. So go and fight. Fight for freedom!
And the IAS there's no exchange with the IAS, and this is an important aspect of this. This is the corruption.
For the children in the street, the average and the unseen, the leaders who men believe, those who we believe, valiantly we rise,
give to the IAS, you're giving to a nameless, faceless entity that may or may not be doing anything with it. You don't know where the money's going.
L'Église de Scientologie de Belgique poursuivie par la justice. Une enquête qui concerne la branche belge de l'organisation américaine et 2 de ses hauts cadres. Et les chefs d'inculpation sont clairs. Pratique illégale de l'art de soigner, escroquerie, extorsion, faux usage de faux, violation du respect de la vie privée et organisation criminelle. En réalité, tout commence en 2008. Une plainte est déposée. Le juge Claise mène l'enquête et en avril, des perquisitions sont menées.
There's no accountability. There's no record. And if you ask for some accountability, if you ask for some records, you receive a lot of trouble. Yes, you are the one who is wrong for asking such things. In any other charitable organization in the world, full accountability and transparency is expected. Not in Scientology. If you're a Scientologist and you're wondering where your money's going, just ask and find out what happens.
Located on Wabasha Street, St. Paul's Central Thoroughfare, and only 5 blocks from the state capitol building, it's a landmark all unto itself. Because this is a building that long loomed large as the Science Museum of Minnesota, and hence a place known to whole generations of Minnesotans who toured the museum as kids on school field trips.
Okay, so for example, I can talk about Twin Cities in Minnesota because I spent years working on that particular organization. Twin Cities was a small, struggling organization, literally consisted of 10 to 20 staff members. Very small, very struggling for decades. The local parishioners got together and they purchased a gigantic building.
While to every other description of its size, the only apt word is monumental. As in, the largest Scientology Ideal Church of its kind in the United States of America.
I really, to this day, wonder why they purchased such a huge building, because it's one of the biggest in the Western United States. It's huge. It's like 90,000 square feet.
The indelible impression when crossing the threshold to reception is nothing short of grand. The adjacent cafe follows suit.
They purchased this big building. They then spent years getting money together to renovate it. They renovated this building. It's beautiful.
The Academy is yet another ample delivery space, as in the size of a football field. This is where this Church of Scientology will serve as training ground for Minnesota natives to learn to become auditors themselves. It will also serve as a training ground for staffs of groups and missions from Wisconsin to the Dakotas.
I was involved with the mission with the project for management that went in there to open this organization and get it going. And it was on that mission that I realized that they were really all about just making more money. Because what their attention was focused on almost every other week was making more money for the IAS. And getting events happening within the organization and getting promotion happening within the organization for IAS fundraising events, while at the same time, very little attention and very little pressure being put on getting new people in, on getting books sold, on making auditors, on getting people into class. Sure, there was some lip service given to this, but the priority was all about making money. And this is the point where I really started getting what this whole thing was about, because I had already been involved with Pasadena, Seattle, Portland, Las Vegas, Los Angeles. I had seen all of these ideal organizations opened up, empty, no new public coming in, very few people coming around. But boy, were there a lot of fundraisers.
Hi, I'm Dee Dee. We're at the Phoenix Org, and they are at the last few hours of getting the fundraising to zero. So we're gonna go in and see where all the action is, because we are putting an org in the birthplace of Scientology. Follow me, come on. Hi, it's Dee Dee again. We're right outside of the fundraising headquarters. Oh my God, it sounds like we just got a donation. Come on, follow me, let's check it out.
Boy, was there a lot of money being made, and there was a lot of push on people giving more and more money to the IAS.
Hey, Valley here. Valley! Hey, guess what we're doing? What are we doing here, Kathy? We're having a door sale, not a fire sale. You know why? A door sale. Why? Because we have the biggest Ideal Org property on planet Earth right now. I know. That's a lot of doors, people. We need a lot of doors. We need doors for auditing rooms, for course rooms, for the children's course room. And you know what? These doors, they are not $10,000.
Going to build a chapel and we're going to clear the valley. Gee, we really need you.
And that's not what Scientology is supposed to be, but that's what Scientology is.
A runaway money extortion racket.
That's right.
That
and that is
tax-free.
Exactly, and I saw that with my own two eyes. I saw it over and over again, and that's when I realized that this whole thing about making ideal orgs is not about making big booming organizations with lots and lots of Scientologists. It's really and truly about making as much money from these parishioners as can possibly be gotten out of them before they're driven to bankruptcy or worse, and then letting them go. And that's what the whole picture is all about. And I have since come to find out that it is that way internationally. It's the same pattern over and over and over again. And the Scientologists think that the Super Bowl commercials are somehow some big dissemination campaign and they're going to like bring Scientology to the world.
Imagine science and religion connecting.
That's not what that's for. It's not what it's about at all. It's all about just getting more and more money from the parishioners so that the very top levels of Scientology, David Miscavige, can reap the benefits of having all that money. Because no other level of Scientology is benefiting from that money.